politicians are all talk, no action. Nothing's going to get done. They will not bring us, believe me, to the promised land. They will not.
America loves a good reality show. Witness the ratings winners with disasters featuring phony housewives, stunningly bad rap singers, instant marriages, and families who claim to be of faith, but more often a feat of clay. But anyone who referred to Donald Trump's presidential aspirations as only for show are about to get a rude awakening, thanks to folks in New England. And the same could be said for Bernie Sanders. Our guest is a former congressman from the state we speak of, who knows the ins and outs of the machine in New Hampshire and beyond. Welcome, Charles Bass, to the Hardline. Congressman, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Ed.
Congressman, I lived in New England for 4 years. I got to know the people of New Hampshire rather well. And I got to tell you, I'm even a little shocked to see in this latest poll that Donald Trump is actually trailing Jeb Bush by only 3 percentage points. I guess the easiest thing to say is anything can happen this early, and oh yeah, it is still early.
Well, and the other thing is that New Hampshire voters like to shop the candidates, and I think if you ask the question, who are you ultimately most likely to vote for, you might get a different answer. But, you know, Donald Trump is loud and declarative and exciting to people. And, you know, New Hampshire voters are going to want to see a little excitement. And they've got a lot of candidates to pick from. And I think you're going to see a lot of this over the next couple of months.
Then who do you think is, in your opinion, that ultimate candidate that New Hampshire would go for?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, Chris Christie, Northeast, you know, has a straight talk. Jeb Bush, good history in New Hampshire, brother, father, although they didn't do, neither of them did too well in the primary. They do have a good base of support. Marco Rubio is interesting. John Kasich, governor of Ohio, has run already in New Hampshire. A lot of people know who he is, another straight talker. Clearly, the Republicans believe that the presidential seat has value, and that's why so many of them are running. It's good for the Republican Party in New Hampshire because new people are coming forward every day whom I've never seen before, who are interested in working for the party.
So here's the latest Wall Street Journal NBC poll where Republicans were asked who their first choice would be if the primaries were held that day. This is overall. And you see Jeb Bush, 22%, Scott Walker, 17%, Marco Rubio, then 14%. Let me ask you then, because New Hampshire is so important, and you even noted that there's a change going on a little bit there. What are the New Hampshire voters then looking for? Is it just as simple as saying that they want to see somebody new with fresh ideas?
That's part of it. The other thing is that New Hampshire has a history going all the way back to Estes Kefauver versus Harry Truman back in the late 40s of not picking front runners, not liking an absolutely sure thing. Look at George W. Bush, who was the presumptive nominee in 2000, losing to John McCain by 19%. His father having the same issue with Pat Buchanan, going back through Gene McCarthy and Robert Taft and Dwight D. Eisenhower. New Hampshire people like to keep the voters guessing, and the candidates as well. They want to hear from them. They want to question them. They're touchy-feely about the election, and they will take their time about deciding.
Congressman, I absolutely love the op-ed that you wrote, the article that you wrote in the Washington Post regarding Bernie Sanders. Here you have the Democrats going, come on, Bernie's looking good. He's putting the pressure on Hillary Clinton. As you pointed out, it's not that easy because he's not a Democrat.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that Bernie Sanders should not run for president. I don't
want
to get
but
into
it is
that
just
fight. I'm a Republican, not a Democrat.
You're right.
But New Hampshire has a culture and a tradition of party registration as meaning something. And in New Hampshire, when you file for office, in this case the presidency, you have to sign a declaration that says under penalty of perjury, I am a number of things, but amongst other things, a registered member of the blank party. What's Bernie Sanders going to write? He's never been a Democrat. He isn't a Democrat, and he doesn't want to be a Democrat. He won the primary in Vermont over and over again, and each time he won, he notified the Secretary of State in Vermont that he didn't want to run in the general election as a Democrat. It isn't a convenience in New Hampshire to declare your candidacy as one party or the other. It's a commitment. And the Ballot Law Commission, in my view, will review this declaration if he says he's a Democrat, and they're going to ask him to prove it. And if it's just, well, I caucus with the Democrats here and I voted with them there, that isn't going to cut it. And I think that he's going to have trouble being on the ballot ultimately as anything other than an independent.
And I do want to point out, too, you said at the end, don't get me wrong, I would love to see Sanders on the Democratic ballot. You're exactly right. 30 seconds.
He offers a great contrast and a great alternative to Hillary Clinton. I've worked with him in the Congress for years, and so I'm coming at this issue not in a partisan manner. I'm a Republican, but simply pointing out that he doesn't make the standard in New Hampshire to get on the ballot as a Democrat. He can run as an independent if he wants, because that's what he really is.
So in 15 seconds, then, do you think he can really, honestly give Hillary Clinton a run for her money nationally?
He could, but it's early yet.
I got to tell you, Congressman,
how's that for 5 seconds?
That's 5 seconds. You nailed it, though, because I think that's what everybody has to say at this point. It's way too early, guys.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, we're going to have you back again and talk
friend.
this as we go on here, because I love the political machine in New Hampshire. I loved watching it for those years. Congressman Charlie Bass.
Well, I've lived with it for my whole life.
Oh, it's fun to watch, and we're going to keep watching it. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk again soon.
Bet.
All right, take care. Coming up next, a tiptoeing media on the issue of Confederate flags, political agendas, and a whole lot more. This is the fastest 60 minutes of news. The Hard Line continues.